Clash in Paris. So WWE is once again returned to France. Now, France turned out to be the best crowd that WWE had last year, and it's no surprise here that they delivered. Backlash itself came after WrestleMania, whereas Clash comes after Summer. Alright, what the hell am I saying, bro? So this card wasn't hyped that much. The biggest matches on here, by build, by the way, not by the actual match, was probably Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed, and Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Those are like the two stories that I felt they put the most effort in the last 2 weeks, or last 3 weeks heading into this event. But I don't want to waste time, let's get into it. Okay, the first match was between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed, the tribal chief against the tribal thief. Last thing I would do is carry another guy's shoes or selling them bitches. I don't know how much shoes go these days. I don't even know if shoe culture even exists, but this isn't the video about that. Roman is mega over in Europe. France in particular was insane for him, and it's such a difference from where he was years ago. And now, he's this mega star that immediately changes the feeling of a show. It's a bit weird to see Roman getting dominated. It's almost like the old days. He worked from under with Bronson doing most of the work, and in the early parts, it's not much of a match. Like, whatever you imagined beforehand turns out to be the match. It was slow, it's a Roman Reigns style, but then it goes into overdrive. Reed was up for the task. He looked very good out there and felt like a threat. Not too much, of course. The action was set up well with Reed getting to do a lot. You can guess that Roman likes him. Reed was the showcase of this match, but when it came to staring at the lights, the result was certainly expected. It's obvious, but he put in a good performance. Reigns is in a weird position in his career where it feels like the end is near. Roman is the star of this era of WWE, and it's an image that I didn't imagine would return. Him smiling and being like this good guy. He's not like his old self. He obviously has character development now, so it's obviously different. Heyman acknowledged this tribal chief and was honored with the guillotine. Reigns is a face. He's happy, throwing the shoe in the crowd, but then Braun Breaker ran in and hit this spear on the announce table. For a moment, I thought he hurt himself, but that wasn't the case. Solid match. I liked that more towards the end, and in some ways, I would want to see a different version of it. No DQ or something in the future. We just might get it. Breaker took flight again, and Reed realized he wasn't up to par, so he meshed the tsunami and another one with Roman on the stretcher. This moment was good. Reed with zero remorse or regret, jumping in the guys on the side knowing nothing good is coming out of it. Jey Uso must have been stuck in the Parc des Princes or something, because why didn't he have time for family? Reed hit another one, and at this point, maybe Breaker is the normal one, although that's not saying much. This was a long segment for Reigns, about an hour from the entrance to the post-match story. I'm glad that Reigns and Breaker is saved to the future. It's going to be incredible, but this is all to lead to Seth Rollins for possibly WrestleMania, so we'll see how that goes. Man, fuck Post Malone for that 2K24 soundtrack. It's a sorry disgrace of a damn soundtrack, and he's out here showing his face in a WWE event. Like, shame on you. Tiesto's Sexy Red sounds like a random group project. Adam Pearce here is damn near about to rediscover a singlet with all this anger at Reed and Breaker. They're barred from ringside in the main event. Sponsored match next. Typical WWE, but such is life. The Y6 defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. Some tension here between the Profits. Both tagged each other out and in. They're wearing Borderland attires, which is funny because it's a sponsorship match, and that might be half of the reason why this is on pay-per-view. As for this match, I can't lie, but I didn't care for it initially. I'm talking about this match in the moment. It was by the numbers. Gacy and Loomis had their dominant moments. Dawkins comes in with the momentum. See from him, and the match changes. They actually working out, and the match gets the crowd back into it. Great spots, great moments, but the result was clear. The YS6 used their influence to overpower the Street Profits and retain the titles. The YS6 are fairly dominant recently in the tag team division. It feels like some big team is set up to beat them. I just hope it's Traxium, because I want to see some crazy matches on SmackDown, but Miz and Melo have a better chance in my eyes at the moment, because they actually have a story being built. Mellow Don't Miz or whatever the hell it's called. With regards to the Street Profits, the tension between them is noticeable. The US title division needs some new blood, and in some ways both guys need to do something new, and unfortunately they might have to do it separately. But again, this is WWE of 2025. The idea of Montez Ford being a single star is better than the actual realization of it happening. Becky Lynch defends the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Nikki Bella. This is a bit of a random match, but if the men have their returns, why can't the woman? Nikki was in a different era of wrestling. She turned competent and became a much bigger deal than 95% of women in WWE history. It simply comes down to total divas. She's a notable name in the history of women's wrestling, even if she doesn't have the in-ring resume as others here. You can notice that she hasn't been in the ring in a while, not to mention that the women wrestle faster nowadays. There's a springboard moment, but it could be chalked up to ring rust. It was a botch, I guess. In storyline, you could say it's a ring rust, but I feel like that's the moment people stuck to a lot. Felt like she needed to integrate into the match because she didn't have an issue later on by the looks of it. Like in the beginning, it felt like it was a bit awkward. And it might come down to chemistry issues, but it felt like Nikki needed to adjust herself into the match. And right when it seems like the match is heating up, they end it. Becky won clean, but had to seal with the roll-up. These two weren't the best together, but I still believe that there's a great match in Nikki Bella. It's just a matter of another opponent. That's if she decides to stick around, but I didn't hate this match as much as others. And the reason why is simply down to the fact that I felt like Nikki Bella got comfortable as time went on. Okay, Rusev faces Sheamus in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. This rivalry has been a bit under the radar, but it's been intense and the matches have been good. This one here's the culmination of the feud. Both guys just want to beat each other up, and Adam Pearce decided, you know what, he got one last match to do it, and it's gonna be this. The match matched the rivalry all too well. They wrestled stiff and with plenty of anger from both men showing throughout this one. Sheamus was going crazy. He put in the work here to make sure that people see Rusev as a serious threat again. It was the best match on the show up to this point. They broke shillelaghs, broke bones and tables, and it got to the point where I didn't know who would win this match. That's when you know it's good. Sheamus is on a sleeper run of sorts right now. The guy just doesn't look like he's stopping anytime soon, which is crazy because his matches are the most aggressive and taxing on the roster. The crowd was really into this one, and in some ways, it felt like both men earned more respect for each other and storyline. Rusev had that extra viciousness that Sheamus lacked, and that was enough to steer him to victory. I felt a great sense of shame after the crowd was silent upon its victory, and I'm not trying to say, oh, they have to cheer him because I like Rusev. No, we're not saying that at all. I really hope they fix that and give his character more because he's had some good runs in the past, and the guy's talking about wanting to win the world titles in interviews, but it's like, with the crowd like that, is he even gonna get close to it? They don't care about him like that, and he needs a hook and something to drag them in. You know, Rusev Day was a good thing in the past. He used to say some funny stuff in promos, but now he's just serious and angry, and it's not even like Miro in AEW, where he had the TNT title, and he was going crazy and all that stuff. They don't got that here, so they need something like that to push him a little higher. John Cena faces Logan Paul. Okay, this was bound to happen. I actually believed it would happen at WrestleMania, but it didn't, and here it is. Cena had an amazing crowd reception here and reminds you that there's not many in history that are comparable to him. The build to the match saw John Cena embarrass Logan Paul, calling him a fraud, saying he's not for this business, and that he's just leeching off of it. Great promo, by the way. This match, it showed that Cena just wanted to be a traditional heel and have the same tendencies as those in the past. That's why his matches were like that previously. Initially, I thought this was going to be a SmackDown type match. Paul does his usual offense, all that showcase stuff he does to the camera and for himself. But then the match got deeper and deeper. Logan still has this issue where he just does the moves and the poses. There's not much intent behind him. And I know I'm sounding like Undertaker right now, but it's true. And speaking about him honestly, if he figures a story aspect in a wrestling match, he could fly much higher and feel as legitimate as the commentary claims he is. I see the complaints about certain wrestlers in AEW, but apparently that doesn't apply to Logan Paul. Nonetheless, this was one of his most memorable performances. Cena just wanted to go all out and in some ways help Paul and show him to the wider audience in a way that his last few matches haven't. But on the other side with Cena, he wrestled this 2015-17 style match here, which greatly benefits Paul because he likes to throw out some random moves in there. He had great athleticism, and I actually believed he had a chance here. Cena brought out a lot of odd moves, such as the end of days. I thought he was about to pull out a Tiger Bomb 98. He was going all out to give Logan Paul and the crowd a memorable performance. It felt like Cena was done and dusted, but he's capable of way more than we thought. He's just going all out, and obviously the way he hits these moves aren't as smooth and perfect as said wrestlers who have mastered them, but it's just funny seeing him actually try different things. One of the better Logan Paul performances and probably a top 5 Logan Paul match. But I'm really looking forward to the next set of matches because Cena at one point hit the Styles Clash. I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna happen. It's only a matter of time before these two set foot in the same ring again. I can only hope that it's the last match, but who knows. Good matchup here. It's a bit spotty, you know, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, that's what Logan Paul knows at this moment. And if they're gonna book the match in any other way, it would be worse off than it was. And the main event, Seth Rollins defends the World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk. This was a bit I think the four men put on a show, but not as strong as the last two matches. Jey Uso was damaged goods after the attack early on, and I didn't have the energy for this one. For some reason, I just didn't have that same investment in this one, and a part of that is because the result was clear, and this is chapter 1 in the Seth Rollins storyline, so obviously he's not gonna lose. But it's also the fact that there's no real threat from this match. Like, oh, it's a fatal 4-way, but we all know how it was gonna end. As for the action, but they worked for it here. LA Knight was presented as a wild card here. They constantly spoke about him. Jey fought like a warrior in storyline despite his injuries, and Seth had to learn the hard way that he's got to do things alone. Well, he didn't really learn because he had backup, but that was the point of the story here. I think they teased the ending a lot. Not the exact ending, but the fact that Rollins was going to be saved. It's not a special fatal 4-way match at all. The sequences were solid, but it's nothing notable to be honest. The ending though was clear. Punk was never winning the title here, but a tease doesn't hurt. You know, they got us a bit here. They're like, oh. Rollins hurt his knee, which is a typical story in a Seth Rollins match. He's stuck in GTS position, takes one, but right as Punk goes to the second, he got low blowed by who ended up being Becky Lynch, the man's man. They finally interact once again, and it's way more logical and easier to book than it was in 2019. But I just dislike how every show needs some sort of masked person interfering or some sort of elaborate ending to keep the title on a heel. It's one of those things that's gonna die hard because it's a strong habit of Triple H's. Now, on the other side, Becky does make sense. Where I stand on this is a different story. I'm a hater because this means the feud between Punk and Rollins continues. Oh, they're gonna feud forever. We know they're gonna feud forever. It doesn't mean they have to feud every time they touch the squared circle. Seth Rollins needs variety. CM Punk in particular needs variety. His storyline with Drew McIntyre was done under the Seth Rollins story. But with Becky Lynch involved, there is a small possibility of AJ Lee being involved because Rollins said he hates Punk's entire family. Alright, that match was just solid. I don't think it was great or anything like that because it didn't feel dramatic, and I feel like Fatal 4-Ways need to have that threat element to them. It's like, who's gonna win? Oh my god, what's happening? I didn't feel that here at all. Judging by the story, if it goes the way it does, it just might end with Punk and Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. That makes a lot of sense, but I just don't care to see them interact a lot personally because we know they hate each other, we know they despise each other, but let them do other things. Let them evolve and change alone. Then we can do this feud because this feud, if Punk keeps on going, they're obviously going to do it again. We just want to be able to miss the story, although by this point, I probably won't. Alright, Clash in Paris was a decent event. It's not special, it's not that notable, honestly. Rusev and Sheamus was one of the better matches here. John Cena and Logan Paul might be a one to watch out for because it features a strange John Cena performance. It's not so strange after seeing SummerSlam, but if you said this was the match for Clash in Paris a couple of months ago and explained the whole thing down to the pinfall victory for John Cena, I would have been a bit confused about it. So I recommend you check that one out. Other than that, this wasn't much of a show. You might like the idea of Nikki Bella challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. I look forward to the next pay-per-views as opposed to this one. You know, this one felt like one to set up the next set of events for the fall and the winter. So yeah. Alright, what do you guys think of Clash in Paris? Please comment down below. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit the AA on the like button, perhaps the GTS and the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.